Hello, I'll be talking to you about HelpTheWorld.Live. HelpTheWorld.Live is a website that's based on an e-petition that's on the UK government and different petitions on change.org. It's all the same petition, but I'm using change.org, so different political parties and different political leaders from around the world can be all targeted, and you can change it, you can share it around and get your friends and family to vote, and we can get a big nice collaboration where we can have a lot of good things happening across the world. HelpTheWorld.Live is spelled Help the World, one word, no spaces whatsoever. You put dot and then you put LIVE, and that's it basically. That's the website, and that's how you're going to find all the information. There's a couple of YouTube videos on there. There's a nice 46-minute one, long one, where I talk in much more detail. This is going to be a lot more shorter one. I'm aiming for the 10-minute mark, so for those of you who don't have much time, I'll be making a lot of bold statements again, and I'll be talking about a very old system that runs around the world, like my grey hairs on my beard, which is letting us all down, and we'll be talking about all of this. Basically, let's get cracking on and let's get cracking to it. We need your help. All we are asking is that you take the time to make a simple vote and a share, and get your friends and family to vote and share as well. This simple vote will enable all of us around the world to have a better minimum wage of around 30 euros an hour, a better basic pension of around 50,000 a year, a very good healthcare system across the world for everybody, which will work on budgets of around 100,000 expenditure per person per year, and not the current UK rate of around 4,000 per person per year. Currently, the NHS in 2018, when it was at the fifth richest economy in the world, the UK government, it ran on a budget of £4,000 expenditure per person per year budget, which is unbelievable what the NHS National Health Service is running and doing across in England. Right, we want free university for all the young people across the world. We need people to be more knowledgeable in our societies and across, and these financial restrictions are not helping these people become, our younger generations become much more knowledgeable and so on, and it's not helping. And in some countries you can't even get a loan or so on, and the grant system is near enough all abolished and so on. Right, we need at least one house or flat per person across the world, so nobody's homeless anymore. It's a shame we're letting people down by making them homeless and letting people live in shanty towns and things like that, and all this type of poor accommodation and so on. It's time that these governments have all equal rights and all stand on their own 2 feet and go to their central banks and receive grants to do all of this, so that they can look after their people properly and give them proper accommodation and everything. We want free public transport which runs on clean energy across the world as well. We want also much more better funding for all these other public services and good causes as well. We want all of this to happen, and how we're going to happen is, like I said, we want your vote, which will help us to tell your government and all the governments across the world to work on grants from their central banks and not be needing to tax or borrow from us or businesses or corporations or anything like this. Currently, we work on a very old system, like I said, which limits the amount of money that they all have, and they're not all equal with each other. These governments need to be all equal with each other, and they need to be all on the same level playing field, and that way a lot more fairest economical equality can come about as well. When we look at England, the United Kingdom, which had the fifth richest economy in the world in 2018 before COVID, where it collects its taxes and money from, we can see that it had a total budget of around £800 billion. This total budget was its collected from national tax, local tax, and it was its total expenditure. When we divide 800 billion into its population of around 60 to 70 million people, we can see that it only had £15,000 to spend on each person when it comes to public services that year. The United States, the country with the richest economy in roughly about 2018-19, the US government had a total expenditure of 4.109 trillion. Now, when we divide 4.109 trillion into a population of around 320 million people, we can see that the US government had only around, again, $15,000 to $13,000 to spend in 2018-19 on public services per person. Even if we argue that the US government didn't spend its money on militaries, or it doubled its expenditure to 8 trillion a year and so on, it will still only have $26,000 to spend on each person when it comes to public services. So when you look at the welfare state like the United Kingdom, where each person went, sorry, like when it, or when you look at a mainly privatized state like the UK, US, we can see that both don't have the funds that is needed to be like mentioned, to be able to do all the things we mentioned earlier about topping up minimum wage, topping up pensions, and so on and so on and so on. Like the environment and incentivizing businesses to go carbon neutral and take away all these guns and bombs and give these people, stakeholders, incentives to move into other industries that are not beneficial for human consumption and human well-being, and so on and so on. Like we said before, this is all because they work on a very old system of taxation and borrowing from them for their money. Even if we had the best and smartest people in the world as politicians, with no disrespect to the current ones who are trying their best, most of them are trying their best to do, but it's the system that's letting us down. And they still can't do the points we mentioned over, like increasing minimum wage to €30 an hour, where you say to businesses like, listen, you pay less towards minimum wage, you pay £5 towards minimum wage, you can employ more people, you're going to have no taxes, and you're going to have lower costs and everything, you can employ more people, and we're going to top these up with grants from our central banks to €30 an hour all across the world, a nice minimum wage across the world, and get everybody out of poverty. Currently, half the people in the world are earning $2 or less a day. 1 in 2 child is born into poverty. So it's a shame what's going on around the world, and it's all due to the system. And the system is making us bad and bad, and it's killing loads of people, unfortunately, if I'm to use these sad words, and so on. Basically, what else? Each government needs to be equal with one another, so their capabilities and are not restricted due to lack of money. Like I said, they can't be doing all of this stuff on the current system they are working on. There's a saying, there's never a bad student but always a bad teacher. We're the human race, we're the students, and the current system that runs us at the moment, that's our teacher. And once we change our teacher, we will have loads of positive side effects coming through, like instead of the ones coming through now, where we've got national, international and local problems and conflicts going on, and so on and everything. And environmental damage and this and that, and CO2 emissions are out of control and all sorts, and that's going on. And once we change our teacher, we'll have loads of good side effects coming through, where the greed for money will die out slowly and hopefully a lot more quicker, and then the use of drugs and so on and so on, and this and that will fade away, and the kids can be brought up in the right way. Militaries can be brought up back into the societies, these lovely soldiers, and not be sent to kill each other, because when all the governments are equal, there ain't going to be none of this conflict going on and this unhealthy competition going on as well. So this is why we need your help. We need your help, and we need you to get you and your friends to vote as well, so that we can have a better teacher. And if we don't vote, then we'll be letting ourselves down and the future generations down also. So if we all vote and we share, then we can do this. We're all on the same boat, and it's time that we all row in the same directions. Once we all row in the same direction, then all this will happen. But if we don't, if we all row in a different direction, none of things is going to happen. So now we know what's wrong with the world and why it is like this, and we know the solutions and what we can do to help it overcome all these problems. It's time we all rode together and made this all happen. Right, okay, you can vote on change.org as well, for different languages as well, and different political leaders as well. So if you go on the website on HelpTheWorld.Live, it's got translations in Chinese, in Turkish, in Italian, in French, in Spanish, and they're the ones currently on there. And there's change.org links all on there that tells you, that can send you to put your vote and spread and share and make your political leaders be aware of what we want. Once we get our numbers and we show these people what we want, we show Boris Johnson, we show Joe Biden, we show Tayyip Erdogan, we show Macron, we show Merkel, and we show all these other leaders around the world, which I've forgot their names, and Imran Khan and so on, and we showed all of these leaders what we want. Trust me that they will give us what we want. Right, there's possible obstacles that can come from the proposal, and they're all discussed on the website, but I'll quickly go over them now. Everybody will become rich, and what a brilliant problem that will be over time, when people have €30 an hour in their pocket. What a brilliant problem that will be to solve, where instead of solving a world of poor people's problems, we're solving a world of rich people's problems. You make it compulsory to work like national service in the majority of the countries, and when you make it compulsory to work, majority of the people work anyway, you will see that for societies can still function. People finish their higher education, they try once, if they don't succeed, they can go do it as a part-time on the side. They will make their societies function. People retire a lot more younger, and so on. So that's where you can make societies work, and job rotation can happen around over time. If everybody becomes nice and wealthy and too rich, and people don't want to do certain other jobs, then you can make it job rotation compulsory, so all the jobs around the world are met, and so on, and this all the needs are met as well. Inflation of prices could happen. So what you do is you say to businesses that you've got lower costs, and anyway, so what's your total cost? Tangible, intangible cost, £1 example, we'll give you a generous profit margin cap of £2, 100%, so your prices can't go over £2. So that keeps inflation down, and everything happens through there as well, which is another way that we can sort that out. We need to even out the currencies across the world, make the currencies the same: €1, £1, one shilling, not shilling, sorry, where am I going? I'm going back to my age, and I'm showing my age now. 1 rupee, 1 lira, and so on, all the same, and so on. So we can do all of that as well. So that will help purchasing power parity, and them type of arguments come out of the way and make everyone have a flat level playing field. Yep, that's all basically that I can think of. When it comes to international trade as well, it can be done like an emergency system. Whoever's got the most priority and so on can be given certain resources or natural resources or whatever, and loads of things can be rotated around so natural resources are met. Overpopulation doesn't have to be a problem at all, where we are scared about overpopulation. There's enough resources, there's enough food, everything comes from the planet, everything is in abundance. The sky is not even the limit. We can build and build, we can build in the seas, we can build here, we can build there, and there's no need to be scared of spaces or whatever. Majority of the population lives in one small part of the world, anyway, in China and India. So don't be scared about overpopulation or lack of resources or lack of food or anything like that. With governments having proper plans from micro to macro, where local government is giving all the information it needs and what all it needs over to major governments, into the macro governments and so on, and they do it to internationally collaborate with one another. Everything can turn into paradise. So like I said, I'll repeat the website again. It's called Help the World, one word, no spaces, .live, LIVE, and you go on there, all the information is on there. You got the petition links are on there. You just go on there, you vote, and that's it basically. I wish you all the very best. I wish you all a brilliant day. I wish you all the happiness in the world, and I hope you have loads of sensible fun. And that's it for me for today, and one love. Take care, everyone.